Who is here? Crumbastilla, Rusty Bee Stuff, Top End Spoony, CameraTim.com, Tricky Dane. Greetings. I'll try not to rant too much, but having said that, it's not guaranteed. Kusamo Mart, Zeba the Fat, CameraTim.com, Capsaholic, Mr. Eggcake. I think we should consider us having started. Liz is here looking for fire. There will be fire. Let me just refresh the page so I can actually see this is actually streaming, and it is actually streaming. Let's start with the ultraviolet sterilization of everybody. Sterilizing. I don't know how much it's needed at the moment. I'm sure there are diseases somewhere, because there's always diseases. I am sterile. You are safe. Lovely, lovely adverts. That's okay. The adverts will soon be passed. My apologies, they're what pay for the platform, ultimately. Much as we'd love everything to be free, it does need to be paid for. I'm not sure what the adverts are like. I never get the adverts. Jägerminium. Oh, tricky. Well, I don't know. Is it deserved or not? I'm not really sure. Don't know. To the reason I had to get my coffee from a different supermarket today, the little mini branch, because the big one was all closed off with police cordon tape because somebody just got stabbed. Again, that's the second stabbing in about a year or two. Very odd. Ramsey, super peaceful place, and then just a spate of stabbings of random people. It just seems impairment of the Neds to survival of whoever gets stabbed if needed, whatever, I don't know. An update in Kevin. I visited him at home. I took him some Guinness. I took him a crate of Guinness, or a box. He does. You're a sort of like Happy Little Fox. You're kind of a pastel blue. Darker pastel blue, quite complex, cornflower blue. And it does turn out he's got a broken disc in his spine, so that's not so great. But he is at home, not actually enjoying the experience of pain at the moment, but that's what happened. Supercomputer's crashed. The supercomputer wasn't even turned on. Oops. Now, watch when I turn it on. There's an LED, I think it's this one here. There's an LED that is rogue to all the others. Let's see if it does rogue things. Oh, it lit at low intensity. Yeah, there's something weird about that LED. Don't know what it is, but it's out of sync and everything. One time I turned it on, it just started doing random sort of flashing as if it's got a, don't know, a shift register or something inside it, or the logic was all screwed up. Interesting. Is he watching tonight? I don't know. Who's broken their back? Kevin, the lineman, was involved in an incident at work where a piece of equipment failed and 2 operatives were injured physically. It stopped raining for a whole 4 hours today. The Tucker. It's been hammering with rain all week here, and the sea has invited itself onto the esplades and promenades with such force that it actually mowed down a wall again in Douglas. Found a solvent that might be a good substitute for methylene chloride in the bubble tubes. It's called methyl perfluoropropyl ether. Apparently boils 34 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure, and it's non-toxic and not flammable. That's interesting. I'm going to have to just pause and make a note of that. Now, the question is it heavier than water? Hold on. Let's take a look for this. I'm pretty sure, is it going to be available on eBay, is the question. Let me just search for this. Hazardous agents. Colourless liquid with a mild odour. Uses heat transfer fluid, refrigerant, and aerosol spray cleaner. Okay. If it's the aerosol spray cleaner, I wonder what that is. AI overview. Does it give me the specific gravity? Density 1.4 grams a milliliter, so it is quite a high density. It will sink. That's interesting. Right, I'll leave that window open. You shouldn't wear high heels at work. Absolutely. Volsurface says, hello, Big Clive. I followed other day from YouTube when you was offline. Do you know what I didn't do? I didn't send a notification of the stream to Patreon as I usually do. I'm just slipping up here, I'm not doing very well. Not keeping on on things. So amateur, really. So let's just remind everybody and see if the figures actually even change. Twitch. One moment, please. I have some gadgets to show you. See if the figures actually even change. So I'll just mute that right now, and we'll just give me a second. Post. Public post. I'll end up leaving it. Public post. Weekend stream. Currently live. Let's spell it correctly. Live on Twitch. Crovey, currently live on Twitch. Weekend stream. Free access to everybody. That's it. Lovely. Oh, there's a thing. That's yes. There probably will be a Patreon stream on Thursday, but I will be travelling. It depends on the weather, because I'm just such a bad idea. I'm flying to Glasgow during storm season, so that means unpredictable results. Don't forget the mouse pewter. I could put a mouse pewter on. Which mouse pewter though? What's this one? Let's choose. What is this one? That is green. And I'll get a suitable magnet for retaining it. I'll use the... Oh, there it is down there. There's the other one. Let me just compare them here. Oh, that one's brighter. Okay, because it's got a fresher battery. I'm running out of 2032s. I noticed that recently because... I noticed I was running out of 2032s because I needed them to power some calipers. I shall show you those. Spoilers. It is in an unbagging video, but you're going to get it early. The patrons have already. Oh no, the patrons haven't already had that because I've not released it yet. It's super long unbagging video, over 40 minutes. Is that too long? Currently experimenting with LoRa. Interesting that the protocol is basically owned by a company. Is it? Hagen. Or Hagen, or Hagen. I think it's Hagen. It's a long time since you carbonated something, indeed. I've just a batch of wine finish as well. Apricot wine. It says the final thing you do is you add sugar to make it sweet again. I'm not going to do that. I prefer dry wine. Nope, not long enough. I should maybe try that. I should release a 15-minute one, and a 30-minute one, and a 45-minute one. It covered lots of things. Let me show you some of the things it covered. Digital calipers. Digital calipers, but with big displays. Big, bold displays. Noting that this one's got a bigger display, but the case of this one's bigger. Interesting. I'm not getting Patreon video email notifications. Are you not? That's odd. It might be worth checking that you've got things enabled. Drawing a nice Pinot Grigio right now, says Minky Mutu. That's a good choice. Have you shaved your head yet? No, it's still super long hair under there. Yeah, it's winter. It's not a good time to shave your head, particularly when going to bed at night and expecting warmth. I don't want to have to wear a beanie in bed. The Silverline calipers are excellent for the money. Not max display though. These are unusually big displays, these ones. And they take a 2032, but they do stay awake. So how long is the battery going to last? I should put these through. Another thing in that video is, I'll just give it all away before it's even been released. It's the depth gauge for checking tire tread depth. So for instance, if I zero this out by pressing it on a flat surface, and it is zeroed, and then I sit it on the edge of the computer, and then just at the front, and then press down onto the table, the front of my computer is 12 millimeters thick. Now, the reason I got this is someone said that the circuit board can sometimes be transplanted into identically, the button positions, I guess, would be important, identical units, and it can turn the standard low resolution 0.1 resolution, tenth of a millimeter resolution calipers into hundredth of a millimeter calipers. I don't know how accurate that would be. Interesting. Right, I should put this back through. And I'll put it back through after showing you this. It's an ionizer. It's a bipolar ionizer. Mains voltage. Is this 220, 240? It's 230 volt, but they probably do 110 volts too. And it's got the negative electrode and it's got the positive electrode. And there's a really strong airflow between them. These were super popular. They were being pushed with very, very suspicious descriptions during the pandemic as everybody cashed in to make money. How well will those work on good, salty, wet tyres? I don't know. Ultimately, it's a little probe that comes out into the depth of the tread, so I don't know how well that would work in general. Seems accurate enough. I'll put these through. I can update a video that has already been released on Patreon. It's not. These videos will be coming soon, and it's the unbagging, but it was all the head torches. And my favourite type of head torch, let me show you one of them. This is a brand bought locally called Core Lighting, and it's the little head torch that swivels. It is slightly hackable. It contains a beefy 1 amp hour cell, and you've got the options of high, medium, low, and then off. I don't think it has flashing modes. It's got the SOS mode apparently, and it's also got the infrared sensor one that it. You can see the infrared beam there, the purple, and it detects, you put your hand in front of it and it basically turns it on and off. I got some of those from AliExpress, a couple of different versions. They were more or less the same, except the cell inside them is just miserable. It's terrible. 200 milliamp hour in a marked 400 milliamp hour, actually 200 milliamp hour, but loads of space to put a cell in. But another one, the one that clipped onto your skip and had the rechargeable lithium cell in it, it was marked 1000 milliamp hour. It came at 950 milliamp hour, which is acceptable. My biggest problem with that little headlight there is you get used to having it on because it's very lightweight and it's useful having that little boost of extra light wherever you're looking, and you forget it's on and run the battery flat. Horvath, the electronics in those plastic calipers, the same in the 100th resolution ones, are just down-tuned. You'd wonder why they'd do that. I do have another gadget. I'll show you actually two versions. One is supposedly, it's very weird, the wording in the eBay listing. Let me read you the eBay listing. So I'll go to my eBay history, eBay, and I'll look for that purchase. My eBay purchase history. What's to arrive? Electronic LED drivers, vintage electronic lamp, overalls, sulfur. The machine toppers. That, yeah, you'll see those when the video comes out. They're interesting. They're arcade machine toppers. There it is. So this thing, let me read the description of this. It's very odd wording. If it's the same wording in this one. Where is it? No, it's not the same wording in this one. I'll go and get it and show you it. But it is supposedly a British brand. That means nothing. Hello, it's still live. I'm Anderson Man. Greetings, Anderson Man. And greetings to you, Fluffy Bunny. And Rubber Pants showing off his... Oh, do you know what? I did see... Alibaba is just... All I get is adverts from the weird stuff. And one of them was the rubber pants with an inflatable groin, complete with a Schrader valve sticking out the side of it. Not sure why I would want that. But anyway, let me go and grab this heat detector. So here it is. Do you think they've got enough LEDs in it? They've got 5 different colours of LEDs. And this thing is basically, it's like a smoke detector, but all it detects is heat. And if you look in the side, well, you won't be able to see it because it's got a mesh there. But there is a little thermistor in the side, which is odd. Usually it's mounted in the tip, so actually kind of, just protruding with low obstruction, because this is going to stop the thermal convection of air actually going into that, to me. But anyway, if it detects high temperature, it does that. Here is one from AliExpress, and this one does actually have the little bead thermistor. Can you see it there? Right in the middle of what appears to be the output of the sounder. And this one runs from a lithium cell. And if I just, okay, it did blink. That answers the question. Does it blink? Yes, it's got a little test button here. So that's lovely. So that works as well. But these things, you get rate of rise ones, which detect a sudden ramp up in temperature, but you get that they'll always have a fixed threshold. But also you just have fixed threshold, like say 60 degrees Celsius, which is not going to happen normally in your house, even with hot stuff going up to the ceiling. Maybe woofles, I'm not really sure. But if it detects a sudden rise in temperature at ceiling level, it'll set the alarm off. Not as sensitive as a smoke alarm, but also doesn't just randomly trip like the smoke alarms do here for some reason. I wonder why. Or you can just buy the cheap shit and finish them up yourself. You can. How much is shipping usually to Eleman? It's usually the same from the UK. As it can use standard Royal Mail, but for AliExpress, it's all inclusive. There's no cost really associated with that we know, because apparently they have to deliberately deliver stuff from China because it's a developing country. I thought China's developed. Stick them above you, CG Warwick. I could. You want me to stick them up here so that when I woofle, it sees if they go off. That could be interesting, but it would involve sticking them to my ceiling. Oh, look at the state of that lamp light fitting there. Oh, look at the soot in that. That's ridiculous, yeah. Oh, sooty residues, he said, losing his balance. They downrate those caliper electronics because the plastics they built from is not rigid enough. A tenth is all they semi-reliably can do. I do have a set of metal calipers with the 100th measurement, and I use that for measuring super thin winding wires, and even then, it's like 0.08 millimeters. It's just pushing the accuracy of even those calipers. China's a great country. It is a great country. It's interesting. The slower beep giving the don't panic vibe. Indeed, stuff slacker. I wonder what's inside one of those dog shock collars, how bad they are. I do have one. I've had it for a while. I've not summoned up the courage to put it on because I was going to take it to an NBC meetup, and you just know that would go badly. We can't do that for a while now because until Kevin's recovered. I'm in Brazil. It's raining like no tomorrow. Absolutely. It's been thundering rain and massive sea activity here. Fantastic. Did it stop you barking, Clive? Depends where you put it. Yes, indeed, Mr. Eggcake. The full test goes yes. Calipers are super useful for measuring 3D prints. That's what I use them for. They're really good for getting accurate hole spacings and stuff like that. Where everything has to fit, and isn't 3D printing accurate? It's really incredible. Greetings, DMX512 Twitch. When was I last thinking about DMX? Quite recently, actually, and it's RS485 levels. Mr. Eggcake, woof. What? Megavolt Meister, how'd you pump it up? Area dirtbag. Oh, what's this then? I want to know what that is. Nike, penis, and pump it. I don't know. Anyway, interesting. It's all gone sexual. Right, okay, let's distract you all from your endless sex. Let's go and get another gadget. This arrived. Looks sophisticated. It's a programmable load. You can set the current, I believe, and set the cutoff voltage, I believe. Don't really know yet. And how do you think they shipped this from China? They shipped it with one wrap of bubble wrap and then stuck it in a grey plastic bag and posted it, and then jammed down the back of the current sensing shunt here. There was a little bag with 2 replacement feet because one of them was sheared off. How predicted they must, that's the main bit that must break. Do you think they just say, well, we'll post them and see what happens and if they break or not? It's quite neat that the little interface board here has the rotary encoder and clicky and the start button and the displays, but it actually can unscrew and just unplug off, revealing a microcontroller underneath, not a surprise, and a little piezo sounder. Makes quite a lot of beepy noises. Don't know how to use it yet. I've not read the manual, not looked at it. I have powered it up. It starts off when you power it up by just ramping the fan up to full speed, quite a noisy little thing, and then it runs down to a lower level. But it looks like it could be noisy, but then again, it has to dissipate a lot of power as heat. Look at that heatsink is like bent. Just everything's a bit distorted. That's fine. It survived that. It's pretty sturdy indeed. Well, I'm currently building one of those, making a video about it. Should be coming out in a bit when I've finished tuning it. Aha. If all else fails and read the instructions, first, Grelko, I have to find the instructions, but I'm sure I just have to search for a picture of it, and then I'll find them. I'll leave another gadget. I've got another gadget. It's quite an expensive gadget. It's a big one. I'll just put this through. We'll have that gadget later, rather than just spoil you with just excessive gadgets. Talking about spoiling people. Oh, the smell. After 8 minutes. I've made a video about measuring with calipers after 8 minutes and calculating the thickness of the minty middle. But I haven't released it, not even in Patreon, because I thought it was a bit twee. I'm not really sure. I'll keep it as one of those videos I release when I run out of good content. That's not going to happen. I make far too many videos. But this is an after 8 mint each. It comes in lots of little envelopes. I don't know, do you have these in America and other countries? But it's a super wafer thin mint with that super thin minty filling and crisp chocolate. And they're great. The problem is they're just too Moorish. They're so wafer thin. I was contemplating how they make these, manufacture them. It's interesting. I shall put this through before I start making loud munchy noises. This is not what they call... What do they call those videos where all you do is eat in the video? They're very popular. Mukbangs. They're very popular. You can't go wrong with the box at After Eights. They are an iconic confection. Wonder if they're still made in Britain. Does it say? No. It's been designed by a London-based... Oh, that's the box, is it? Okay, but it's not telling you much about UK, Ireland. It's Nestle, South Africa. I'm not really sure where they're made, though. It's quite heavy, so you think they'd make them locally. Nestle does make them. Where is Mr.'s bucket? What? Oh, Monsieur. Monsieur's bucket. Mr. Creosote. A wafer thin mint, just one little wafer thin mint, then he explodes. For those who don't know, search for Monty Python, Mr. Creosote. A video about a very, very, very fat guy who goes into a restaurant, eats everything, vomits everywhere, and then when he's stuffed and can't eat anymore, they coax him to eat one little after eight mint, or a wafer thin mint, and then he explodes everywhere. That's a very odd video. £3.50 club card price at the moment. That's exactly what I paid on my club card price. Club card being a thing with Tesco that you only get things at the correct price if you've got their membership card. Otherwise, it's inflated prices. How big is Big Clive actually? Could you hold your own if grappling with the bear? It depends the size of the bear going to twitch. I'm 6'4", if you want to work it out, and typically the weight yo-yos up and down, 250 pounds or lower. 250 pounds peak, I think, which is quite heavy, really. Death by mukbang. Was it the meaning of life? Aha. Very, very weird collection of sketches. Is that the one that also has the sex lessons in the middle of a class full of kids where the man and women are actually having sex in the middle of the class? Very odd. How did they do that? I'm a bit taller than Clive, but lighter, says Smoke824. I wouldn't want to be any taller. That just gets a bit tricky, as you know, clothing-wise, when you get taller, particularly overalls. Yes, every sperm is sacred. Yeah, the kids chanting, every sperm is sacred. Yeah, very weird. How did they get off with that? That's because it was back then. Lead Ballooner. Watching you from my cabin on a cruise ship docked at Antigua. Heading off for some food in a bit. That's got very strong hints of Pirates of the Caribbean right there. Horvath, about calibers, what you need to try a set of indicator dial ones. They're weirdly practical. Well, that's lovely, except that it involves effort. Have you played with any of the 21700 lithium ion cells? I've got some big lithium cells, but they tend to be Life PO4. What is the biggest one I've got? Let me go and grab that. Is this thing even labelled? It is a 2.6 amp hour Life PO4 lithium iron phosphate marked 3 amp hour. It's quite a big cell. Let me get the measurements off this. It will be a standard, but it's not marked with anything. So the diameter, 32, and the length, 70. 32700? Hold on. Is that a standard size? 32700 cell. Yes, it is. High performance cylindrical Life PO4 cell, 32 millimeters diameter and 70 millimeters in length, typically featuring 3.2 volt nominal and 6 amp hour capacity, which means that the capacity I've got, it's heavy though, really heavy. Maybe they're just salvage cells, maybe. They could be salvage cells. This was in a solar powered streetlight thing. Notice it does have a little protection PCB on it that is optimized for Life PO4 cells. That's useful. Now it is time for woofles, actually. Well, it's time for fire. I've just put a new thing down there that I shouldn't have put down there just before spraying stuff. So, right, I'll put this out of the way first. Let's put this out. Let's put it here. Maybe I should have stuck that back in its bag. It's insulation bag. Bump it up. We're getting this again. But we won't be getting this next week, because next week's stream, if everything goes to plan, will be coming from Gotham City. Is this pumped up too much? Is that possible? Actually, I don't even think this device is safe here. I shall put it a bit further back. Ignition. Okay, let's have some flames. Oh, I should have checked for spiders first, shouldn't I? But it's okay. There are no spiders about at the moment. It's just been very quiet spider-wise. They'll get revenge, though. They'll come back in force in due course. Ah, I can still smell the alcohol in the air. But clean whiffles. And no sustained flame. This is good. Ah, it's true. Minky Mootu's not been about for a while. Check for hedgehogs. Hedgehogs? There are usually hedgehogs in the garden, but I've not seen any for a while. They have fights in the garden. Passed my BS 7671 test this week, very chuffed. Well done, Dennis. It's possible to befriend spiders. Well, I'm sure they would respond to getting spider snacks, whatever the fuck they are. Spider snacks. Was shocked earlier. I have 2 packs of near identical SMD LEDs. Pack of 25 from RS was £8.75. Pack of 1,000 from LCSC was $3. Yes, RS. I was looking at RS recently for a specific transistor, and they wanted a minimum purchase quantity, and they're really expensive. I ended up getting an order from Farnell, including a Meanwell power supply to explore. It's a medical grade power supply, so it's super duper isolation. Any badgers? No badgers. Is China the cat still about? I've not seen China in a long time. Don't know what happened to China. Either adopted or passed away somewhere, but we don't know. Her little daughter is still about, though, and visits in nice weather, but not in bad weather. She just stays curled up in her wee bed for bad weather. Mushroom indeed. RS is when cost isn't important, but speed is. Absolutely, Chipmunk. RS Components, radio spares, is the Rolls-Royce supplier in the UK. If you need a proper component that is absolutely compliant and you need it at short notice, RS. If you're running a factory and you have equipment breakdown, you need a particular contactor or something like that, you go to RS and they'll either have it there, right there and then, or they'll have it for you the next day. Maybe even, if possible, they'll drop it off at your place. They're very good, but you pay the price for that. And, Callum, CPC is kind of a division of Farnell. It's the same company, really, but they didn't stock the transistor. I had to go with Farnell. They don't have the same stock. But the power supplies were their own combined brand. That's the same. I could have gotten them from CPC. Element 14. They are much cheaper than Farnell, indeed. What did you have for dinner today? Sushi. That's what I had from the supermarket. Smoke, we had a cat visit us daily to beg for food a few years, but he stopped showing up a few months ago. He was getting on in years. He most likely passed away. Either that or got adopted, taken in. Holy crap, RS abbreviation spelled out. That's some arcane knowledge. Well, it used to be called radio spares. Do you know, I was thinking about it recently because there was a guy there, an autistic beardy guy behind the counter, and their catalogue is that thick. No, the catalogue isn't that thick. Their catalogue is that thick because it has all the mechanical, electrical, electronic. It's got everything, fastener. It's just got everything. And it's divided into multiple thick catalogues. And the staff behind the counter, someone would go in and say, do you have a particular model of relay? And they'd say, they'd turn around and go, Siemens RB962 relay, and they'd just tell them the page it was on. And they'd open this massive catalogue. There it was. Unbelievable. He's very serious. Very serious, yes. I was waiting. There was a big queue, so I thought I'll wait for that queue to go down for my order. And they had the computer on the just general ordering area with their electronic catalogue, and I exited out the program and started playing solitaire, and he went ape shit. Oh well, not to worry. Have to say, Edinburgh wholesalers are shit for contactors, relays, and DIN PSU. There's an independent wholesaler in Broxburn called R&M who keep a good bit in stock. Yeah, all they are probably interested in is lighting and switches and sockets for rewires. What did you need the transistor for? Can you show us? That video. I don't think that video is out. Hold on. A vehicle, vintage 12-volt fluorescent tube driver, single transistor. Spoilers. Oh, I caught my beard in the cable. It's a 555. But weird circuitry for driving this. But the transistor had failed, and this capacitor here had gone way off tolerance. I substituted in, completely not by design here, but I substituted in an STP36NF06L MOSFET, and it worked perfectly and it ran cool. But I want to put the original transistor in, just in case, because I don't know how predictable. And this is going back to the person who sent me it, because he uses it in his van. And he is a retro street lighting geek and wants all the old traditional stuff. Does not like LED as a matter of principle, even though LED would be much more functional. Unusual, the transistor was the D11H44. Is that right? Hold on, let me just check. D11H44, or was it D44H11? I think it was D44H11. D44H11. It's a D44H11. I was close. Anyway, the next gadget I've got, is it really a gadget? It was quite expensive. Quite big. Has the 120/240 switch at the back. Make sure that's the right place. It still has the protective film in the front, not because I'd left it on deliberately, but because the little tab that said pull here went pop and came off, so I just left the film on. But this is a programmable power supply. Generic, it goes under so many different names. They look identical. Hangel, this one. The video, I looked for videos of people testing them and reviewing to see how good they were, and they mostly came out okay, except for that one where the guy was testing it on the video and it just died. So that's interesting. And I still bought one. How much was this though? Hold on. Are you going to make guesses how much it cost? It's rated 30 volts at 5 amps. No, it's not. It's rated 60 volts at 5 amps, but you also get 30 volts at 10 amps and also 120 volts at 2.5 amps. I wish AliExpress didn't do these pop-ups. It gets right in the way. Hangel. These type of power supplies are never going to be cheap. Is that correct spelling? It is. Ooh. You're not. Some of you are no Minky Moo 2, not £9.99. No, most of you are pretty close. Except no, some of you are just doing low ball. Some of you are just. It's varying between low to extremely high. It was £55 shipped, which is okay. It is a switch mode power supply. Is there anything going to be visible in here? Yeah, you can see roughly. You can see the big transformers in there. These things generally have one transformer as the switch mode transformer for the main output, and a second auxiliary power supply for the displays and the electronics. My SIG junk died, turned on and off only 400 times. That's not so great. £55 sounds quite heavy. Well, it's not heavy, no. Oh, I've made the video about the drug scales. What a cute little load cell in that. To put things into perspective, the classic load cell that looks like this, right? Classic load cell looks like this. I was expecting something very simple because it's keychain fob sized. They've actually got a miniature version of this in it. It's very, very cute. The component count is ultra low and the construction is very clever and it's super accurate. And isn't it just cheap shite inside Minky Moo 2? Well, I guess we'll find out when I open it if that's a power supply. The receptionists don't bother speaking to you. What? Steve RPCB says, I bought a lifetime supply of leaded soda, so I will not die until I've used it all, depending on how good the quality is. Where'd you get it from? Mine, 10x1, is actually based on a wire-wound transformer with switch modes to adjust precisely and limit current. It's got a relay tap changer inside. My old Maplin power supply in Glasgow has the tap changer for the, as you turn it up, it suddenly clicks and causes a bit of deviation around that point. Henry Kostrov, we have a 0 to 300 volt power supply that does sound very useful. Roden Schwartz power supply, only £980. Roden Schwartz, Dave Vab, did get in contact, I should have responded, asking if they could send me bits of equipment, but it was just too far beyond the scope of this channel. It's bad enough that I've got a Keysight oscilloscope, but everything in this channel is supposed to be affordable. And much as I appreciated it, it would also have meant that I'd have had to learn how to use their equipment. A good example of that recently was Dave at EEV Blog with a nice piece of equipment that he was doing a load test with, and then he had to refresh his mind of the manual because the settings, there are too many settings in modern equipment. It's very versatile, but unless you use them all the time, it's just really, you have to, look, every time I crack out the Keysight oscilloscope, I have to spend ages just getting everything tuned in on it because I'm hunting everywhere for menus. But that's what happens. It's because the Keysight are expensive. Keysight got in touch and said, we'd like to send you this $5,000 oscilloscope. And I was like, thank you for the offer. It's just way beyond the scope of this channel. I couldn't justify that. And then they said, well, we'd like to send you an oscilloscope. We'll send you a base model, and you don't even need to show it. It ended up, they knew fine well it would get shown on the channel from time to time, but it's very nice. Compared to my other oscilloscope, is it On1? On1, is that about right? It's got much better auto find of the waveform, and it's good as a starting point auto find. In my browser, I can ignore the pop-up in the AliExpress, just type in the search bar. I do that, yeah. I just go straight to the search bar, click into it, and the pop-up doesn't get in the way. 5K, I'd be having that. No, Minky Moo 2, there's no point. I'd feel it would be waste on this channel. Classic equipment on a trash channel, sacrilege, indeed. O1 is. The O1's big advantage, it's got a massive display, and it also can run a monitor, which I thought that would be quite good for having a big TV monitor for the waveforms. Henry Kostrov, tried 12 volt DC motor, it lasted to about 100 volts, and like on over 115 it started arcing over. It was so fun. Don't do what I did with that expensive power supply ages ago. I hooked up, one of the guys came in and said, can you check this siren? And it was just a motorized 24 volt siren. I ran it, and the power supply failed. Now I know what had gone wrong with it, but at the time I was early in electronics and I was like the guilty party there. The internal back EMF diode that's designed to protect against inductive loads had failed inside the power supply. That was also Keysight. Sure, they appreciate. They're down to earth. That Keysight have this history of supporting the hobbyists, which is good. Is it touchscreen? It is not touchscreen. Well, I've not touched it. Is it touchscreen? No, it's got a menu buttons. did you use it on the bum probe video? I think I did analyse the bum probe video with that power supply. But there's a lot to be said for the old cathode ray tube oscilloscopes that you basically manually select the time base and then the amplitude, and that's it. For many applications, that's fine. The kits, I've got quite a few of the mini oscilloscopes, the LCD ones, but they all do things like jam so many menu options into a tiny little unit, and my fingers, it's bad enough finding your way through those menus again, but there's one that you've got a little rocker that also clicks, and very hard to rock it without clicking it. It's just a bit of a chore to use. I do have a favourite one that I use for quick dirty waveform analysis. Let me see if I can find it. Some of you will recognise this. It's one of the dumbest scopes of all, right? And first of all, you have to give it a 9-volt supply, a non-noisy 9-volt supply. So I've got a little PP3 attachment to it, but it's just basically it's single trace, and it's got the absolute minimum of controls that you can select, as like with the cathode ray tube ones. You can select, also little clips, you can select basically volts division, seconds of division, trigger level, and OK, and adjust. That's it. It's very basic, but it's the fastest because it does so little. You can, for a simple waveform, this is the fastest approach. Wow, I just put that down there in a different place from normal, and I'll never find it again. Streams are no fun at all anymore. Well, why not, Horovac? You're just being bitter? Are you down? Is it because I told you I've got a posh oscilloscope? Sorry, Horovac, but it's fine. That little thing is great for the price it is. Very functional. What's your most favourite tool? Oh, that is very hard to narrow down. Very hard to narrow down. Got a bulging lithium cell. How low do I need to run it before it's safe to dispose of? It's down to like 0.5 volt. Yeah, that should be good. That should be okay. I've got a little, all my lithium cells, I've got little tails on them. Well, let me show you, because I've got one doing it right now. These were ones salvaged. Crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. These were ones salvaged from a battery that I punctured deliberately, or took one apart ages ago. Really high capacity, if I recall. And they had puffed up. So I got my standard connector that I have in these, and I stuck a resistor across a matching plug and just plug it in and just leave it to just basically discharge till there's virtually nothing there. And then it just becomes very inert, because what's in here isn't that volatile. Lithium cells, everybody says, oh, it's the lithium that explodes. Don't put them near water. The amount of lithium in these cells is very low. They are lithium ion cells. The main constituents are lithium cobalt oxide, graphite, copper and aluminium, and the electrolyte. So once you've actually discharged it, they're not that volatile. You could open this up and you could throw it in a bucket of water. It wouldn't blow up. Interestingly, and this isn't totally recommended, with some lithium cells that are puffed up, when you put them through a few charge cycles, they reform all the gases inside and they shrink back to the normal size again, but I don't recommend it. Once it's got to that stage, you're dealing with a high energy storage device that is defective, has been abused. No, you're not getting a camera that follows me about here, because then you'd see piles of ultraviolet tubes, neon ionizers, clothing, pinball machines, a sewing machine, the pinball machines, a printer, the pinball machines, a huge, just loads of stuff. And a cluttered floor covered with electronic stuff. Well, you know, Horvath, you can just wander off and leave this on the background. It's fine. Lithium water produces oxygen, is also self-combusting. Pure lithium, yes, but not lithium cobalt oxide. Is it lithium? I'm going to check that. Yes, I was right. Lithium cobalt oxide. I should get some of these. When are we going to get the... Well, they're already available. But when are we going to get power tools and things with the sodium batteries in them? That's kind of interesting. There is quite a crowd here in Curtis. How many are here? I don't know how many are here at the moment. It should say 591. That's a modest crowd. It is. Do you have your first multimeter over there? No. My first multimeter, it probably still is in existence somewhere. It was a little dinky one from Tandy with the little flimsy leads, and you actually plugged into different holes for different ranges, and I blew it up. I mean, it's so easy to do your first meter. If you blew your first meter up, even if you blew a current meter up, don't worry about it. It's so easy to do, particularly the little dinky ones you get, like these. I still use meters like these from time to time because A, I've got a set of croc clips on it so you can just monitor something and have it as a secondary display of voltage or whatever. But also it's quite handy that you can turn it straight to the current setting without swapping the leads on the low current ranges. But that's also what kills a lot of these meters, because if you if you've got it across a battery or something and you turn it around and you're trying to find where the mode you want and you turn it to the current setting, you're going to burn out the resistors in the unit. Or in good meters, because there's good and bad versions of these, this one is DO3047. Is this the one from... This one has a maximum current rating of 5 amps. That means this one is probably from CPC and has a fuse on both the low current and the high current ranges. And there'll be HRC fuses, high rupture capacity, the little ceramic ones. Well, they're not classed as HRC, but they can break a lot of current. Don't punch the more modern cells. Use a fluoride-containing electrolyte can produce hydrogen fluoride under certain circumstances. They were a nightmare to deal with at work when a cell was found faulting the production line. Ah. I remember Greenweld. Was your first meter with Nixie tube? It was not the bit banger. I've never had a meter with Nixie tubes. I did occasionally see things like that in marketplaces, and just I didn't appreciate what they were at the time. But that would have just ended up in the pile of stuff, wouldn't it? Nixie tubes, they used to be dirt cheap. And then suddenly Nixie clocks were fashionable and everybody was buying them up for Nixie clocks. And now they're really expensive. My tech college had a Nixie tube frequency counter. Do you know what we had? It may have been Nixie as well. But I remember the counter and timer at school, and it was had the Digitron tubes with the whirling dots in them that I thought they were really cool. My first Robin was £110 in 1992. Oh yeah, that's expensive. Robin is a brand of meter. It's kind of aimed at the electrical industry. It's kind of expensive, but that's what they are. The art of making a Nixie tube video is worth watching. Yes. I remember that there's a French guy, who made loads of videos, and it was all very stylish videos. A meter using those flip digits that were on clocks would be cool. Yeah, that would be not very fast response. Dalibor Farm, that's the one. Dalibor Fami makes them. That's the one, Linus CBT. His videos are very good. Robin was the cousin of Fluke. Ah. Thank you for subscribing, Rick Dastardly. Oh, resubscribing. Can you make a project where you use some kind of tube or SMT on ion stuff? Oh, I'm not really sure. The tube I'm most likely to use, rakes through box. Rakes through box here to see if I've got one. Do I have one in here? Hold on. Oh dear. I don't know where I put it. I'll probably put it somewhere safe because it is a breakable thing, although I've got plenty of them, but that's not a replacement for looking after stuff. No, it's not here. That's fine. It's somewhere safe, that's good. But it is what would it be called? It's not a triode. Thyrotron. It'll be based in Thyrotron, probably. Probably an old Otis Thyrotron. Touch button. Never made the circuitry for that yet. Maltese cross casting a shadow. Well, strange you say that. Do you know what I did buy from AliExpress Grelco and I've not tried it yet? Should we unbag it and try it now? It's a neon bulb. Hold on. Bag. It's still in the bag. It's in the bag. I'll need a knife to break into this, or I just use... I think I'll need the knife anyway, because it's well packed. This also came through just loose in the bag, and the meter came through loose in the bag, but with polystyrene packaging at least. So it's wrapped in polystyrene. Hold on, I'll slip the polystyrene. The polystyrene is slit. Recognize it? Still mass produced, still very affordable. Let's plug this in. 240 volt, 220 to 240 volt. I think they do lower versions as well, lower voltage versions. But it is neon discharge, and there will be a resistor in the base that will get absolutely smoking hot, and it'll be the bit that fails. Let's plug this in and see if it just goes bang. Put that down there. Okay, it's very dim. It doesn't look that bright at all. Hold on. The green thing there, right, the phosphor is barely glowing. It's not that bright, but you know, it is lit. And it may stabilise after a while and get brighter, but it is the little neon glowing flower. I wonder what the power consumption this is. Watch your eyes, the light is coming back. The light is back. I'm going to plug this into the power analyzer. 1 moment. So I shall plug the power analyzer in here with its super thick cable. It really, at some point, will change that for something a lot thinner because it is fake cable anyway. Oh, display fairly solid under this light, and that's pretty good, isn't it? I think the reason there's so much flicker these days and this meter on the main filming area is that cameras have got more and more sensitive over time. To be fair, 3 watts on the button doesn't look like 3 watts of light though. That's super. I think more than half the power is being wasted in the resistor, in the base, because I bet the base gets pretty hot. But that's how it goes. Neon, very attractive, but just not efficient. But it is quite good coverage on all sides of the electrode as well, except that little bit at the bottom isn't lighting up, but that's all right. And you get the flicker as well. It's almost like a flock of light. And the glow on the, I guess that's maybe ultraviolet stimulation in the leaves. I think that is just phosphor. I don't think it's actually electrode glowing. Don't know though. Interesting. But there we go. 3.05 watts. 0.987 power factor. 12 milliamps. That reminds me. Did I bring any of them over? I've got some Russian neon tubes in Glasgow, which are the bar graph type neon tubes. I've been cautious about bringing them over in hand luggage because I don't want them destroyed in the cargo luggage, and I don't want them seized by some Karen if I take them on by hand luggage. It's time for a communion. Where do I get one? Cool as hell. Are you talking the lamp there? Hold on. Keep in mind these. I'll just type in neon. That should help find it. Neon. Neon. Solar powered cat lamp neon. That's not it. I'll have to try E27. It's some of the words they use are very strange. There it is. Carwen, Karwen. I shall give you a link to it. It's available in a few different styles, including one that says love, but quite why you'd want one that says love, I don't know. There's a link, an easy link. That means it's a affiliate. I almost said conspiracy link. An affiliate link, but you know what? That's fine. It's a link. It's an easy one-click link. Interesting. Where's the white going to? What? They contaminate and dull unpleasantly quickly. They do, Grauco. That's one of the curses. We're having a discussion on a neon forum. I used to get my tubes made by a guy in Glasgow, a place in Glasgow that's no longer existent. It's the Neon Workshop. And it was a big neon manufacturing before LED took over the neon industry. And the guy there, unfortunately, didn't believe in using what they call diffusion pumps for the vacuum. He used a roughing pump an ordinary vacuum pump to take the tubes down, and they worked, but they blackened very quickly inside because the impurities were not all pulled out. It wasn't a good enough vacuum. But anyway, it's mod view not working. Don't know. Do you have any experience with iontophoresis devices? I tried it, Piano Man Rob. It's a current iontophoresis is if you've got sweaty hands or other things. It's mainly for sweat, I believe. And you basically get 2 trays of water and with foil at the bottom, and then a bit of tissue or something to stop you contact the foil directly. And then they've got salty water in them, and you basically pass a fairly high current, several milliamps from hand to hand through your body or feet. I tried it in the feet. It was no good. If the skin's broken, that's where all the current goes, and it was quite sore. But the idea is it stops you sweating. I don't have personal experience, but there is a lot of coverage on YouTube if you type in iontophoresis. Well, there you go. To the person who discovered iontophoresis, an interesting technique of preventing or reducing sweaty hands for people who have major sweat problems. I had a co-worker for a while, and he had major sweat problems. Like, the slightest effort, and he'd be also apologetic. Oh, wow, I'm sweating so much today. But in reality, it was the medical problem he had that just made him sweat. And he'd pour with sweat all the time. It must have made his life so difficult. That sounds like a bad idea, although dead people don't sweat, I guess. The units, keep in mind that passing DC current through your body isn't a majorly bad thing. But the problem is that at high milliamp currents, AC causes the problem. It causes you to clamp on, and it causes continuous stimulation of muscles and things, and it hurts and can affect your heart. DC isn't the same at all. Smooth DC and gently ramping up. It's just my hands and small my pool playing. You can improvise your own experimental one to see if it's going to work for you, and then if it does work for you, then consider getting one of the ones that ramps the current up very slowly. I think they also swap the polarity at some point, but doing it suddenly you'll feel a jolt off it, but doing the ramp thing doesn't. Improvise. I've tripped an RCD by dripping sweat into a junction box. Do you guys get that thing you put on the waterproof gloves to work on something, and that next thing you know, you tip your hands up and all the sweat pours out them? That's pretty horrible. My uncle sweat like that. Turned out he had a heart condition which killed him in his 40s. That's not so great. I'm using 4 lithiums in series. Okay, reasonable enough. I did it with a bench power supply with current limiting. A good quality bench power supply, not a cheapie. The TENS units are different. They do use AC, very spiky and unpleasant, or should we not call them TENS units anymore, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, and call them what they're used for, E-stim units for sexy fun. That's what they're used for. Bloody awful sweaty in gloves. It is DC, Alan. Found hybridsigns.co.uk as well, Glasgow based. Grant Rennie. I wonder which company that is. Another company I got, I went to them and said, could you make me some tubes? And they said, and I showed them the images of them, and they said, oh, we don't do art stuff. And they were just adamant that they just weren't interested in dealing with anything that was out of the ordinary. They were just obnoxious, in fact. Then I went to another one, and the guy was absolutely really super mega helpful. Did you see that 45-watt UV flashlight in AliExpress anywhere? I didn't look for that, Megavoltmeister. Megavoltmeister sent me a video of a light and with thermal camera, and it was an ultraviolet flashlight. It was putting out very high power to the point you could see what it was pointing at, heating up on the thermal camera. Treasure Broke, E-stim units can get women's fannies back into shape after giving birth. That's great to know. Not going to find much use for it. I tried, but it might be fun to tingle the prostate with as well. The difference, having experimented with such things, the difference between a slight tingle and feeling like you've just been kicked in the balls is basically one increment. I tried one of those for neckish and it was quite painful. It didn't make proper contact with the skin. That is an issue, Pugster Josh. Surface contact, particularly if there's any rash or skin breakage. Odd stuff equal art, yes. Sparky Projects, a guy accidentally grabbed 600-volt DC bus bar. He had to wait till his mates came back from tea break, turn it off, letting go would have caused an arc. It would have caused a slight spark, but really you wouldn't want to hold it for that long because it causes what's called electroporosis, which is damage to the cells, so that's unlikely. That sounds like a made-up story. And also, 600 volts, even with DC current, the heating in your body would be significant. Burns would occur, but not clamping on. Treasure Broke. People complain about E-stim, yet that's the difference. You get E-stim made by professional E-stim manufacturers, and you get cheap Chinese units that are basically rebadged TENS units, and they're designed to cause discomfort, so to stimulate a body reaction. So that one involves cheap components and sharp, spiky waveform that hurts, and the other might involve sine waves, I'm not really sure. They're very expensive, the proper ones, but then sex. Is it the one with the 21700 lithium-ion battery they claimed was nickel metal hydride on the Amazon? That's very odd. Electrolysis of blood is another very dangerous condition, except there's also there was a whole area of pseudoscience that Dr. Beck's Pulsar and Hilda something, and it was basically handheld electrodes, and it changes the polarity every so often, but it passes DC current through and is supposed to kill viruses and bacteria in your bloodstream, was the theory. Not well proven. Just buy a vintage, Victorian vintage device, yes. I have some of those here. Mark Edward Hodgson. I have everything from the electric shock therapy machines to the violet rays and violet wands. So another thing that's not arrived yet, because my recent orders got broken up dramatically. The one thing that hasn't arrived that I'm looking forward to is the IGBT tester that tests up to 3,500 volts. Looks quite interesting. The packages were really oddly broken up into, including I ordered 3 circuit breakers, different current ratings, clear ones, and one came through in one order and then the other 2 came through in the next, and there's other stuff still to arrive. You look cold. I'm not cold. It is about 7 or 8 degrees Celsius. I'm not cold. You can also get a tattoo artist to dry needle the spots as well. Dunno. LGBT tester, yes. Are they paying out yet? Yes. It seems to happen a monthly cycle, but I've not withdrawn any money from that yet. They don't offer an option to take it out to PayPal or anything like that. It is in American dollars, so I'll need a dedicated account just for dollars. So I'll probably get something like Revolut or something like that. Can't do it to the... Clears that for prison use, yes. I can't take it out to my business account because it's an old British bank, and if you dare try to pay anything in dollars, they'll be like, oh, we're going to have to take half of that in commission, so fuck them. The clear for prison use, the circuit breakers are just clear because they're quite novel, actually. My pal uses Revolut. He doesn't pay any fees for exchange. Indeed, they're supposed to be good for that. And they're supposed to be a good exchange rate, Craig. They do pay interest in your account, but not apparently if you open the Isle of Man. But I'm not sure how that goes. Also, it'd have to be a business account because it's business stuff. And you have to keep business stuff separate from personal stuff. Politics. I use Wise. Very good exchange rates and low charges. My bank calls it non-sterling transaction. I remember my first ever international PayPal transaction. Not PayPal. That's why I ended up using PayPal, and why PayPal is such a big organisation now and the banks all lost out. I ordered a pair of American bib overalls from eBay, and I had to do an electronic fund transfer thing where it was a check for currency transfer that I had to post to them, or I had to get the money or something and post it. But either way, it was this odd thing. And then they had to process at their end, and then they sent the goods, and it cost so much. And that's why the banks all just completely lost out on e-commerce. Idiots. They're the ones scammers use because the ease of transaction sounds great, Treasure Bloke. And what's the one I had recently? I came back from Edinburgh, working there, and I went to renew my membership at the gym, and it automatically declined and bounced and put a temporary sort of like an issue with my card. And it's because it was one of the payment systems that is so widely available that it's used by scammers. Scammers ruin everything. Could you check your email? Gmail, I've sent you 3 emails there. Okay, I'll check that later on. I have a post office card in USD for that kind of thing, rarely use it. Craig. What the arse are we talking about? Money, transfer of money. There's Scruff Dog gearing up. Revolut are not a bank, not by the definition of the law. Yes, but then maybe banks are just out of date. Revolut is big and has been around for a while. I was investigating it. My first PayPal transaction was for a mug from Zazzle, says Norman Robert. Norman Norbert. Ah. Oh, talking of PayPal, and who originally was one of the founders of PayPal, was he not? Elon Musk. Now, you guys may remember that I was saying, oh, just ignore the media. Just because the media showed him going like that, which is the only picture I saw, doesn't mean it's a Nazi salute he might have been waving. I just saw the video of him doing the full to the chest and up like that and thought, you absolute dickhead. Yes, that was exactly what it was. And it was another of his many attention-seeking publicity stunts. Duh. Oh, he bought into PayPal. He seems to have the knack of doing that. He saw what the banks didn't see. The banks that are so deceptive, they don't want to pay interest on anything. No business accounts get interest. You pay to have a business account. He also bought into Tesla. Indeed, he did. The Happy Little Fox, I keep getting scam calls on my landline. Get rid of the landline. It's too easy and cheap to use it for the scammers, so don't. Just get rid of the landline. Elon's been a grifter for a decade. Yep, absolutely. Oh, Musk tried to rename PayPal to X. That would have been great. That would have just been the ultimate one. It's like the domain abc.xyz. That's Google, by the way. Alphabet Corporation. Is it only expense to convert from dollars if it's a business account? No, the banks are just like that. You have to use modern, like PayPal or Revolut or one of the modern systems that not just banks. They're going to go bust at some point. They're on their way out. Scotland has got a new bank holiday. Oh, right, okay. Which is that, though? The McHaggis bank holiday. Random Jaeger, we could. A random Jaeger to Loganair. It's a little island hopper airline company. They're really nice to fly with. They're just really down to earth. It's not up their arse like Flybe and EasyJet and stuff like that. They're not cheap because you can't get a cheap flight off the Isle of Man. It's expensive to fly island hoppers because it is small numbers of passengers. But to the work they do, it's not the most glamorous job at all. Not glamorous at all. They still serve tea and coffee if it's not going to be an absolute tornado fest you're flying through. I will say the worst flight I've ever had was with Loganair, but it wasn't them that were the problem. It was the fact it was going through a storm. And I honestly thought the plane was going to snap in half, but that's just, they'll fly through that because it's small things. John Virgo. Oh, is that, he was the darts guy, I think. I don't know much about that. HSBC now is an international currency account. Oh, I bet it's still not terribly good. I think it's probably Revolut and Mondo and all the other new banking type organizations, the money transfer systems that have caused this. The banks are having to compete. What's another good example of that? It's like AliExpress. The reason the post is so fast is because of Temu, and they had to up their game. Oh, it's snooker. Of course it's snooker, Virgo. Okay. God, how old was he? John Virgo. John Virgo. Or is it Virgil? Who knows? He was born in 1946. Wikipedia is just creepy in the fact that as soon as someone pops a clogs, it's just documented as part of standard history for them, like the next day. He was 79. I mean, that's not bad going. That's not bad going. I wonder if he kept his brain to the end. I wonder if he kept his marbles. Personal life and death. That's the bit most people go straight to. Problem gambling during his playing career. He borrowed £200,000 against his mortgage to maintain the appearance of success, but then his home was repossessed. That's not great. He had a long-standing neck injury. It just says he died in Spain on 4th of February 2026, which was 3 days ago, at age 79. Lovely. He was commentating 17 days before his death. Yeah, Jonathan Hughes, you used to get 5% interest in your savings in the past, and now it's virtually nothing. My Isle of Man bank account has zero interest because, well, why should they pay interest? It's a great privilege to be allowed to bank with them. Oh, wonderful. This is the same bank that when I had to formalise things and make my business, because I had so many business things going on, I went to the accountant for assistance and doing the tax return. They said, you should really set up the limited company now for protection against liability and stuff like that. And he said, you'll have to approach the banks and ask for your business account. In the past, I've done that before as a sole trader. And the banks are like, oh, yes, we want your business, yes. I went into the Isle of Man bank and said, I'm just registering as a limited company. Could I open a business account? The lady said, oh, yes, absolutely. What's the nature of business? I said, it's partly electrical contracting, partly manufacturing, and it's partly YouTube. And she said, oh, YouTube. Right, one moment, I'll have to talk to my manager about that. And she went away and then came back. And all she said was, the bank has no appetite for your business. And then she walked away. And it's like, and recently I was in there and they said, oh, yes, have you ever considered moving your business account here? And I just told them, no, because of what you did before. Wankers. It wasn't her. It was the banks. We're all doing it at the time. Only one bank would consider it because there was something going on that they didn't like YouTubers and they wouldn't give YouTubers bank accounts for some bizarre reason. Even if it was just part of the business, it wasn't it is it's my main business now, ultimately. But I still had the electrical contracting and I still had manufacturing of stuffs that I shipped all around the world at the time. But no, as soon as there was a sniff of YouTube, it was like, tits. On the other side, I pay 2.65% my housing loan. Yes. Yeah, I had to say, in the end, the only way I could get it was to say I make educational media content and didn't mention YouTube at all. Used to get double digits. The banks have no obligation to tell you the rates have gone down on old style accounts. Yeah, they introduce new accounts and then you have to transfer and they say, oh, it'll be a completely different account number and you'll have to set up all your direct debits again to pay your payments. Oh, it's going to be so hard. They're horrible. Good riddance, banks. The sooner they go bust, the better. Please, can I clean your ceiling? No. I'm not sure. I want to say I'm an adult internet performer, Rodders NI. Maybe OnlyFans would have been fine. Hi, I'd like to set up a bank account for my OnlyFans account. Big Clive cockout.net. No. It's pissing rain outside. I've still got my unicorn down here. The unicorn of energy. But first of all, let's try a little bit of my apricot wine. I'll tell you what it tastes like. The reason it's that lovely, it's slightly cloudy still because it's settling. The reason it's that lovely apricotty colour and it's got the apricotty smell is because the flavouring and colour added to it. It is a base wine made with a grape concentrate, then you add the flavours. And also it said, add sugar so it's a sweet wine. I said, no, because I want it dry. It tastes apricotty, it tastes winey, it tastes like apricot wine. That's all right. I made a basic white wine And then I made a strawberry wine, and now the apricot. The previous ones, I gave my brother a bottle of it, and he said, that's really good wine. So that's a compliment coming from Ralphie. I won't give him the energy drink with vodka. I don't think he'd take too well to that. Yeah, the banks, Callum Rowley. The banks are wanks of bonuses. Instead of giving their customers interest, they pay themselves. They just give themselves the money. I need to make a big move to online banks. That's another thing that bugs me about my business account. I still have to use checks. And I don't think their online system is something I want to use, to be honest. So it's just a bit awkward. I've seen under Clive's beard. There's what the underside of the beard looks like. There you go. You've all seen under the beard. You need to make lilac wine, like Elkie Brooks. Lavender. No, not lavender. Violet wine would be quite nice. I can't test the alcohol content of the wine, but knowing the quantity of sugar that was put in, because I used more sugar than they recommended, so it's more alcohol content, I would say it's probably in the upper range of wine, like 12 to 14%. It certainly tastes quite potent. It might even be higher. Chat pause to scroll. Okay, I shall do that. Mostly owned by old banks. Who the hell uses checks these days? I know. Feels a bit odd filling one out. I hate filling out checks. Can you do a 50% off deal for Patreon, like Mend It Mark just did? I don't know. My Patreon is low in the first place. What? I'm not sure. Don't know. What do you mean by that? Do you mean joining Patreon or like subscribing on Patreon? Mine starts off at $1 or $2. It's deliberately low. I'm kind of stuck with the founder's account with the multi-tier things, but just ignore them. Also, if you subscribe for a year, it's less. Significantly less. Whiskey drinkers don't necessarily appreciate the subtle nuances of fine wines. Well, Grauco, to be honest, Ralph, it just talks shit about alcohol anyway, but that's just me saying that. Use your knuckle on the cash machine. Oh, when you're using all the touch terminals, like if I go into McDonald's and their touch terminal, I don't go, nah, and use my fingers on it. I always use the knuckle on it just for hygiene, then wipe it off afterwards, because you just never know what's touched that screen. It's dirty, 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 dirty. Could you buy see-through AK clear circuit breaker from AliExpress? Would you like to see one? Hold on. I got 3 because I may be sending them to someone as an educational aid, because that person teaches electrical and electronic type stuff, and I feel his students would benefit from seeing what's inside these breakers. I don't know what rating this one is. I'm going to guess it's actually 16 amp. Let's see if I was right. 16 amp. There's the inside of a breaker. There's the little solenoid. And the number of turns varies depending on the current rating. And there's a bimetallic strip. There's a whole video about this. There's a bimetallic strip here that the solenoid here detects the sudden high current overload, like a short circuit. The bimetallic strip responds slower to slight overloads, but trips the same mechanism. And if we take a look at another one, I made a video about these. I took it apart. Going to be scruffish for a bit. That's fine. Random Jaeger. I mean, clear RCD. Oh, a clear RCD. Yes, you can get clear RCDs. I've got one of them. I made a video about that as well. This is probably the 63 amp one. Can you tell it's got a much higher ratio of the turns? Or is that 32? It might be 32. That is 32, right? So there's the solenoid on the 16 amp breaker. There's the one on the 32 amp breaker. And this will be the higher current still. Is this the 64 amp? 63 amp breaker. I always say 64 instead of 63 because everything it goes out on binary multiples up to that point in connectors like the C-form connectors. I'm just making excuses now. Oh yeah, the solenoid in this one is literally 2 turns around the coil. I've opened these up and analysed them. I've also opened up and reverse engineered the clear circuit breakers, the RCDs or GFCIs as well. But they look great. I don't know what their electrical... I don't know how I've not set fire to one of them. But you know, you could see instantly inside if there was anything major happening because you get sooty skid marks. Those are designed, they are for prisons, yes. You go to John Virgo, Furries, Scruff Dog and Horovac. Yes, okay. So it's the last Jaeger. And yeah, I'll just read that off. Your hands have gone dry and crack again. They are prone to that, yes. If I use steroid treatment, it would be fine. That has just skipped up, hasn't it? Yes, it has. How's Kevin the Lyman doing? Hope all's well. I was visiting him, Rhodey Morgan. He's not happy, but he's got a broken disc in his spine, which isn't great at all. He's still got the broken ribs as such that are healing up and the broken arm. I've lost track. But anyway, to Mr. Virgo and Horovac and Scruff Dog and everybody, yes. Horovac for being a grumpy old bear. Grumps all the time. Grump, 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 grump. Ever had a near-death experience from an extreme electrocution incident? Gonna Twitch. Had a very, very close shave with husband. Squeezed in between, sweating in the overalls, and it was just like squeezed in between compressor, receiver tank, and compressors running. And I was disconnecting one of them, and I turned off the wrong compressor. Took the cover off it, put the socket on, the deep socket, on for size, keep in mind metal handle, took it off. The second I took it off, the compressor started and it just went boom, and it's like, oh fuck, that was close. Yeah, nobody would have heard me. Well, I probably wouldn't have been able to scream anyway. And also, it was really noisy room. I just, close scrape. Scruff Dog's gearing up. We'll be heading over in a couple of minutes. Plastics have properties that don't lend themselves well to heat. If they are transparent, they wouldn't last very long. Keep in mind, Wago connectors are clear. You got to watch out thermostats and time clocks. Yeah, racing time clocks on outdoor lighting or dusk switches. Not a good idea. Can they end the stream mid-sentence as usual, please? I try not to do that, but you just never know what happens. Old Wago are grey, but modern Wago are clear. I meant earlier plastic. Things have been improving. I have tested various plastics, and they do self-extinguish. Half my stuff is junk. Trouble is, I don't know which half. If it's technical, it's not junk, because it may come in useful in the upcoming apocalypse when just society melts down because the greedy parasites at the helm, the bankers and so on, just milked it to the point of collapse of society. Well, they'll be a useful source of meat. That's a statement. There is no junk. There isn't, Mr. Eggcake. No such thing as junk. I don't trust... Oh, Grauco, I don't trust... Wago, use chalk block any day. Oh, you're going to have to get beyond that. I trust Wago or Vago, Wagner Albrecht, more than a trust terminal block. You're going to have to get past that. You sound like an American now. Oh no, I'd rather screw on a wee plastic thing, which to be honest it is actually better because it crushes the copper conductors together. But the Wago they're fine. Oh, it is time for a woofle. I missed the woofle. Hold on. We'll woofle our way over to Scruff Dog. That's reasonable enough, is it not? I'll just blow the fire igniter out. But anyway, so here's the plan for next week, right? Depending on whether the weather is acceptable to actually fly, because sometimes they do actually cancel the flights at the airport when the wind across the runway is so high that they can't take off or land safely. But they'll fly. The airline I use will just fly through just about anything. So, having said that, it couldn't be worse than the worst flight I've been on, which I honestly thought the plane was going to snap in half. I was at the front of the plane. All I could hear behind me was people screaming and vomiting. It was terrible. And it turned out the air hostess, the first clue about that was I told this story before, just before she was talking to the pilots and then she closed the door. And just before she closed it, she leaned in and said, "Good luck," and closing it was like something out of the film Airplane. And it turned out it wasn't the worst flight of the day. The worst flight had been from one of the Scottish islands, and her job was going to be cut out cleaning up vomit. Oh God, who'd want to be an air hostess? But anyway, hoping to do a stream from Gotham City for patrons on Thursday, if everything goes to plan. And then we'll have the normal stream on Saturday in Gotham City, if everything goes to plan. Probably potato vision because of the local network shit, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, until next week, let's let's go over to Scruff Dog now. /raid Scruff Dog Live. /raid Scruff Dog Live. Yes, I do want to spell it that way, thanks. And it's doing the countdown. 9, 8, 7. So until next week, everything going to plan. From Gotham City, take care and have fun. Raiding now. And if you're still here, if you've not raided, then have a great week, and I shall see you next week for more random discussion of things. Until then, take care and have fun.